ค่ะ, very good evening and welcome to Thai PBS World Tonight. I'm Nabunag.
And I'm Hatay Shikichirinan. Good evening. And kickstarting the program tonight with what a lot of us are awaiting clarity on, which is the topic of Thailand's reopening to international arrivals without quarantine. So according to the Tourism Authority of Thailand, the reopening of the 5 provinces, including Bangkok, Chiang Mai, and Pattaya, which were initially planned for October 1st, which is only a week away, and it is likely to be delayed by a month. So according to TAT Governor Yuttasak Supason, the reopening of Bangkok, Chiang Mai, Chonburi, Phetchaburi, and Prachuap Khiri Khan is likely to be postponed to November 1st. Mr. Yuttasak said the new date and the plan for the second phase was proposed to a subcommittee of the CCSA today, but the subcommittee has asked for more discussions on the reopening of the 5 provinces before resubmitting the proposal to the main CCSA committee. He also said that people must be at least 70% fully vaccinated first before its reopening. So November 1st or not, that has to become the main requirement. So the popular beach towns of Pattaya and Hua Hin, in case you wonder, are also included in this second phase as well. And saying that the TAT is not overly concerned about the postponement, Mr. Yuttasak said some domestic tourism promotional campaigns will in the meantime be launched in October, so tourist operators will still have some income. But he also said it is better to have more people in all the areas vaccinated and for them to be more ready before the reopening to foreign tourists.
And the reopening of Bangkok announced last week by Tourism and Sports Minister Samut Prakan as being on October 15th was soon rejected by Bangkok Governor Aswin Kwanmueang, who said that the capital will not be ready by then, while the CCSA also confirmed that no date for Bangkok's reopening and the second phase reopening has yet been set. So it is understandable that they decided to postpone the reopening because it is still a risky to reopen when there's still new infections every day and the numbers are really high, and at the same time not everyone is fully vaccinated yet.
Right. We still see slowing infections, but they still remain high. And as long as there have been enough vaccinations and everybody is on the same page, obviously this is entirely understandable. And of course, the government also needs to ensure proper compensations that have been made to all the businesses being affected and properly promote tourism when we do reopen.
Right. And yesterday, there have been a lot of reports stating that the state of emergency will not be extended, as well as rumors that the CCSA might be disbanded. However, the government spokesperson has clarified with Thai PBS World yesterday that there's no decision on this one. Deputy Government Spokesperson Rachada Thanadirek told Thai PBS World last night that there has yet to be a decision on whether to extend the nationwide state of emergency, which is set to expire on September 30th, or whether the CCSA will remain. Dr. Rachada's confirmation followed a government house press conference earlier on Tuesday about the amendments approved by the cabinet to the Communicable Diseases Act, which have led some local media to report that the frequently extended state of emergency, which was in place since March last year to curb the spread of COVID-19, will end this September 30th. There are also the addition of measures for public health emergencies, which will be separate from communicable diseases in normal situations and new dangerous diseases. This means there will be no need to use a state of emergency if the changes are made. Dr. Rashida explained that there are separate issues, and this does not mean the law will completely replace the emergency decree, adding that the legal amendments have not yet become effective. As for the CCSA, she also said that it can still be formed again under the new law.
So Thailand's state of emergency, Kunad, has been repeatedly claimed by the government to have helped to expedite efforts to bring the pandemic under control, but it has also been criticized by anti-establishment protesters and human rights groups for curtailing freedom of expression, including media freedoms, which of course has been banning media from reporting during the curfew hours. So we have to wait and see next week if the cabinet will decide to extend the state of emergency, which has been in place for a year and a half now.
And it has been repeatedly extended for like a dozen of times now because the emergency decree can only be in place for no more than 90 days at a time. So let's see if there will be another one.
Right. And now let's move on to another big story that caused public interest, where a controversial drug rehab temple has been closed amid allegations of human rights abuses. So a Thai temple called Wattapura Damrung, or short for Wattapu in Kanchanaburi province, has closed its drug rehab facility and after allegations of ransom, torture, and human rights violations surfaced. So the temple's management claimed the closure was actually because the temple no longer had anyone to supervise the center because the abbot who started the rehab project actually just passed away really recently. So on Monday, hundreds of patients were found living in extremely poor conditions during that drug addiction treatment and have since been moved to another center, another field hospital within the same province, while most of them have already been collected by their parents. So they were moved to a reserve training center, and upon collecting their children, some of the parents said they were shocked and had been unaware of the conditions in the rehab center. So now an investigation is also underway to discover whether the rehab center has been in line with relevant laws covering drug rehab. Reportedly, patients were there both voluntarily and conditionally. Some had been sent there by family or parents for rehab. Others had been offered rehab at the temple by police in exchange for a clean criminal record. So at first, to get in there, everyone must pay 12,000 baht once they agree to get the treatment, and that's actually a one-year contract, plus additional 2,000 baht for food per month. And if you want to end the 12-month contract earlier, you have to pay more. 10,000 baht more must also be paid. Many of the patients were left with no choice but to continue the treatment because of this penalty policy, even though the rehab center offer extremely poor facilities and treatment.
And allegedly over 200 patients were crammed into a single room with only 2 bathrooms available. Patients reported that they had contracted diseases and skin conditions due to the poor conditions inside the facility, while their families had paid the 2,000 baht monthly for food. The patients mostly got only 1 meal a day or 2 on a rare good day. The food offered was reportedly non-nutritious to begin with, such as rice mixed with boiled pumpkin, and on bad days, patients had to eat spoiled rice, allegedly served on the same water bowls they use for showering or flushing the toilets. As many as 10 patients reportedly had to eat from the same bowl using the same spoon. And anyone trying to complain or attempting to escape from the facility would be beaten by staff who were reportedly rescue or medical staff hired by the abbot. At the same time, a group of rehab patients on Wednesday also filed charges of human trafficking against the temple with the police.
Right. So it's actually a bit speechless here, where the conditions seem to be really bad, even worse than the prisons themselves. So let's see how the investigation goes as well. And we also have this kind of good development that the rehab patients themselves are taking a stand for themselves and
Exactly.
charges, right?
And another story which has caught the public's eye concerns a scandal involving an online adult entertainer named Nong Kai Nao. The performer was arrested on Monday night while she was hiding with her boyfriend at a hotel in Bangli district of Samut Prakan province. And the police arrested Nong Kai Nao, literally translated as rotten egg, for publishing sex tapes on the website OnlyFans, where users have to pay a subscription to watch the content, and the adult clip creators get an 80% share. The adult performer revealed that she has made at least 500,000 baht since she started creating and posting sexual content in June. The adult performer will be charged under Section 287 of the Criminal Code for publishing pornographic content for commercial use and or for public viewing. If convicted, she will face no more than 3 years in prison and or a fine up to 60,000 baht. At the same time, Nong Kai Nao will also be charged under Section 14, subsection 4 of the Computer Crime Act for loading pornography into the computer system to which other people have access. This offense on conviction is subject to no more than 5 years in prison and or a fine of up to 100,000 baht.
So mainly, many netizens have commented on this issue. Although adult film stars are common in other countries, it is not totally accepted in mainstream Thai culture. Some netizens ask, as there are many sex idols on OnlyFans, so why is only her being targeted and being investigated as well? So others felt that she was not wrong for publishing sexual content on OnlyFans, but it is inappropriate to do it on a commercial basis, which is still against the law in Thailand. I mean, well, personally, I think as long as the online content has the age limit restrictions, they can be perhaps allowed, and this so-called good Thai culture and the traditional concept of being ladylike. I mean, it's just a mentality in a bubble. While I do think the image of Thailand by those outside the country as a sex destination is too shallow and unfair, because of course we do have many other things to offer as well. But it is also undeniable that the sex and porn industry is quite popular here as well, and that conservatives can't just be too blind to not see that.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more on this issue. And apart from the belief that sex is not something to be discussed in the public, there is still a strong belief that women should be modest and must reserve their own bodies, where in Thai we call "rak nuan sngwoonตัว." And these are the values of how Thai women should really behave in Thai society. And unfortunately, women that are involved in sexual content, regardless of whether they're consented or not, are the first to be ostracized by society, and men don't get the same thing.
Right, exactly. Also being gender equal as well.
Right.
And we'll end the program tonight with a creative way to survive in this struggling economy. A hotel in Pattaya decided to sell batongo, or Chinese fried donuts, to earn incomes after their business has been highly affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. So a hotel owner in Chonburi province, seaside resort of Pattaya, says they have been badly hit since the first outbreak. So they decided to close temporarily and to welcome tourists in quarantine instead. And as many customers asked about their batongo, or Chinese fried donuts, the owner decided to sell them in front of their hotel and online to earn income during the pandemic. The owner said that he didn't expect large sales, but he wants his employees to have an income at least. Now, hotel staff from various departments helped throughout the donut making process. He also said they are managing to earn as much as 100,000 baht a day from the sweet treats, although the income is not as high as it was pre-COVID-19, when they earned up to 30 million baht, which was enough to help the hotel staff.
And other staff members in the catering department said that they've been working at the hotel for around 10 years, but they have had nothing to do within the hotel since the pandemic began. However, they said that selling fried donuts is still a good experience for them because they get to learn more skills. They also still have hopes that the hotel industry will recover once the province reopens to foreign tourists so that their incomes will increase and they can resume their regular catering jobs.
Right. This is all about adapting to survive and being creative about it as well. And for them, it's actually not the first case. People are selling batongo to also help make ends meet in the meantime.
Exactly. We can see that many of the hotels decided to adapt during the pandemic by selling breakfast, batongo, and other stuff that are very popular when they opened before the pandemic. So this is just one way they had to survive right here.
Right. So, okay, we hope we're not making you too hungry or craving batongo too much. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Thai PBS World Tonight. But do catch us like this every weekday at 7 p.m. for all the top stories and explainers.
And don't forget to follow us on social media as well as checking out our website, thaipbsworld.com. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ